Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Cynthia and today's video is one very close to my heart. I am going to be speaking a little bit about grief today, so if that's something that's triggering to you, definitely opt out. Here I'm showing you some of the elements I've gathered that I want to journal with. I am creating, I guess it's a bit of a memoir, or like just a spread about my grandfather, I guess. He just recently passed away, and I definitely carry that with me quite heavily right now. But as the days go, grieving is something that's different for everybody, and in times like these, during this pandemic, it is a little bit challenging to not feel alone in these circumstances. So here I'm trying to find pages that I want to use, and the pages I end up picking, I just really loved the color of the dyed paper on there. So I'm almost there. Through this journal, I have these beautiful pages from Chantal from Red Page Cafe, and she has these red cabbage dyed papers that are super beautiful blue. So these here are the pages that I picked. And I just thought that it would go really well with the elements that I had to create with. I'm not a big butterfly person, I'm going to be quite honest. But butterflies do hold a special meaning to me, so I'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. But my starting point here was to use this pretty printable from Ruby and Pearl XO with like the specimens, and I'm just trying to see how I'm going to be trimming it so that it fits onto this blank page. I know that I don't want it to be the full page because I want to use some of these butterflies as individual butterflies. So I am going to be ripping the bottom part of the printable so that I can use those butterflies on there that way a little bit later during this spread. So here I'm just going to be using my ruler. Oh my gosh, I almost called my ruler my stapler. So my ruler to trim this printable so that it fits properly onto the page. I find that journaling helps me so much in processing my emotions, and it's such a blessing to be able to express and really kind of live those hard and deep emotions that I do experience recently, and I'm sure that other people are also experiencing. I know I've talked to quite a few people in the community that are also going through the loss of loved ones, and losing a loved one is hard always, but in the circumstances we're facing right now, it's just that added stressor to make it just that much more challenging. Here I've realized that I would like this piece of paper to be laying under the printable, so quickly I'm just going to be gluing that. That was part of a paper that was wrapping some flowers that were gifted to me by a friend, so I just wanted to use some of that. And I don't know how it happened, but people who gave me cards and like flowers and everything, it was all the same color, so that teal really set the tone for what I was going to be creating here. So now I'm adding that printable onto here, and I'm going to be trimming the rest of the blue paper so that obviously it's not just sticking out the way that it is currently. So now I'm looking at my other bigger pieces of ephemera. I have this pretty envelope that a friend gave me, and it had just a gorgeous piece of washi tape actually. So I'm trying to see where I could place that, and I'm just removing the piece of washi tape as I think I am going to be gluing that part of the envelope so that I can just pop it open. And to glue the envelope, I'm just using my glue stick. I had this other card that had the message in it. This card came with the flowers, so I didn't care to keep the whole thing. The other part of the card just talked about the different flowers that were in the arrangement. And so I'm just rounding the corners of the part that had the message. And I'm just using, I found this corner cutter at a secondhand store, so I don't really have any information about it. And I'll just be placing that into the envelope. And now I'll be able to move on to another part of the puzzle, I guess. I had this this little piece here that had a song on there, and the song didn't really have any meaning. I did like the title of it, but I mainly just really loved the color of the paper. That creamy, it was almost like caramelly kind of color, so I felt like it complemented the teal very well. And here I'm just playing with some of the images that I had printed, and I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to be placing those. I do end up using just that middle section, and that worked really well for me. I decided to place the image that's in color against the side that had the butterflies, as I really liked how the colors that the outfit my grandpa was wearing complemented the butterflies, the colorfulness of it. But here I'm just trimming down that other picture as it had a little bit of a frame around it, which just made it just a tad too big to be able to fit onto this middle page. To secure those images onto that page, I am going to be using some double-sided tape just to make sure that they're pretty well on there. And I am applying double-sided tape along the four sides of the picture, and then I'm just applying a little bit of glue in the middle just to make sure that it's really well on there. because that image is a little bit shorter than the page, I do want to use a label, and I'm just trimming the black trim around it. I don't like how just the thickness of it, I don't know. Those labels, I really love them. I just tend to not want to use the ones that have that thicker frame around, so I end up just trimming them. And I'm just gluing that at the bottom there. And then I'll be able to move on to the next thing. This picture here, although there's a ton of people in there, my grandpa really stands out, so I just really love it. And what I'm planning on doing is just putting it in that inner section there, but I want to cover part of it with that music sheet. So I'm just trying to figure out the best way to trim it. And here I just, I guess, freehandly rip it, and I'm just going to use my glue stick to secure it onto the page. And my camera will stop recording at some point, but you're not going to miss very much, thankfully. But I do place that image that I just had there in there. It just unfortunately that didn't get recorded. So I'm just pressing that. I am going to use my little tool to make sure that it's pressed really well where it folds. Or perhaps I'm only using my finger. Oops. And then, so my next part is going to be to play around with the right page, and like I've mentioned, I want to use this piece of paper because I love the color of it, and I'm soon just realizing that whatever I do, I am going to be covering most of that washi tape, so I am going to be relocating the washi tape onto the envelope before gluing down that piece of paper with the music and the other picture that I have selected there. So here you can see it stopped recording. All that was missed is I added that little piece of fabric and the couple image and the label. And so I'll be ready to work on the page with the butterflies now. I'm just so thankful that I have this outlet to really create and explore my feelings. Truly, it has been a difficult time, and every day is different. Some days it feels like it's getting better, and other days are just feels like you're back to square one. But that's grieving, right? There's no right or wrong way to grieve, and it just takes time to heal and to process how you feel, and just to accept it, right? So Here, I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do with that page. I do want to use more of that fabric. I really love it. I got it in the mail from Brianna, and it's just so pretty. The tones of it are just really gorgeous. So I'm ripping another little piece of it that I'll be able to use at the bottom there. But of course, that's just not enough. I want to add more texture and just a little more elements on here. I'm playing around. I want to have a space to write a little bit. This spread, I didn't journal. It wasn't meant to be journaling on. It was really just meant as a bit of I lack the words to express what I wanted to do here in English, but just to remember, I guess, my grandfather. So I still needed a little bit to write some small things, which I couldn't really write on top of those butterflies, but I loved the way that this embossed paper from Rose Hill Paper Cottage looked, so I decided to use that. I'll be using it to kind of frame the butterflies in each of the corners on that page, and then the remainder of the paper is going to go on the next side to just create that sense of continuity between the pages and just so that the whole spread really flows. And here I'm grabbing, this is a piece of handmade paper, and that's what I'm going to be using to kind of create just a small section where I can write, I guess, a title to these two pages so that it just comes all together. So I just ripped a part of it, and I'm just going to be trimming it a little bit more so that it flows well with the other elements of the page. And here I'm just using some wet glue to be able to glue that fabric onto the papers there. And I'm spreading that with my finger. And then I'm just going to be placing the fabric on that and just pressing down so that it sticks pretty good. I had a little bit of glue left over on my finger, so one of the corners of that handmade paper was kind of sticking up, so I just put that extra glue on there. So now I'm ready to work with the butterflies. So I'm just roughly cutting around them as I plan on gluing them onto the music sheet I was working with earlier. I do want the back of them to be pretty, so that's why I'm doing that. I plan on making them a little bit of a 3D butterfly. I've seen that done by many creators. A lot of people will stitch at the body of the butterflies. Obviously, I don't have a sewing machine, so I'm just going to be gluing the middle part with a piece of double-sided tape. So here you see me cut and glue each butterfly. I really hate to waste paper, so that's why I didn't just glue the whole page onto the music sheet. I just like to use as little paper as I have to. So, but the whole reason behind wanting to incorporate butterflies in this spread was because I remember being a little girl and my grandmother, my first grandparent that I lost, I would have been I don't know how old I was, probably like 9 perhaps. And I just remember being at the funeral home and being in the vestibule and talking with my cousin, and there was this butterfly, and her and I were talking about wondering what happens when we pass. And I remember seeing this butterfly and thinking, maybe that's grandma. And as an adult, of course, now I think, what a pure and beautiful thing for a child to say, right? Like, oh, that was sweet. But ever since, anytime I see butterflies, I actually think of my grandparents, and I wanted to incorporate this element onto the spread because it signifies for me that transformation, that moving on, the becoming something different, becoming something beautiful, and the transformation that butterflies of course go through. And I just it had a special meaning to me. So here I'm showing you the butterfly close up, and just so that you can see, and I'm just going to be skipping through you having to see me fussy cut all of these. So my next step is just going to be to fold them and add the double-sided tape to the body of each of them. And then I'll be able to play around and decide where I want to place those. And here I'm placing my last butterfly. And all I'm going to be doing to the rest of this spread is simply filling in a little bit of those spaces that I've left for myself. So on the left, I'm going to be writing in loving memory. And then on the right, the name of my grandfather. And on that label that I had added underneath that one picture, I'll be writing the birth year he was, the year he was born, and this year. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I wish you all a really wonderful day. If you are currently grieving, you know, my thoughts are with you, with your family. I hope you are well. It's not an easy road, but there's always a better day that's ahead. And, you know, creating is one of those ways that we can explore the happy memories and just feel all these emotions. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye now.